last player to score a winner for Manchester City at Highbury was Rodney Marsh 30 years ago. And City have lost their last 12 against Arsenal home and away, including 2 games this season. It's a tall order tonight. Arsenal bring in Philippe Senderos for the injured Sol Campbell. It's his first start in the Premiership. Justin Hoyte continues to deputise for Lauren, and Pires replaces Clichy. The former Arsenal striker Nicolas Anelka failed a fitness test this afternoon on a back injury for Manchester City, so John Macken starts, and Nedum Onua comes in for the suspended Danny Mills. A big evening for Philippe Senderos and big boots to fill. Senderos replaces Campbell. Rob Styles is the referee. It's Manchester City from right to left attacking the North Bank. It's Macken with the header. Joey Barton. Barton again. Vieira ran into Bosvelt. It's fallen kindly for Onua. Looking for Fowler. Oh, it's a decent save. Almunia forced to stretch in the first 30 seconds of the game. Fabregas. Still going, Fabregas, and he's fouled in the end. That's the goalkeeper's eye view of Thierry Henry. Oh, it's a good delivery. Could have seen this fairly late, David James. Sibierski. Van Persie looking to release Henry. Good play by Dunn, but Sibierski waited for the pass. Hoyte didn't. This is Justin Hoyte, and still, oh, what an unlikely first scorer Justin Hoyte nearly was. It's an excellent piece of play by the 20-year-old. Foul is given. Sean Wright-Phillips on Patrick Vieira. Ashley Cole. Henry, that's a beautiful piece of control. Van Persie. Would have been a beautiful goal in the main because of this beautiful chest trap from Thierry Henry. Textbook. And Van Persie hit it first time. Sean Wright-Phillips under it. The first touch. Onua towards Sibierski. It's a decent punch by Almunia. Still under pressure here though. This is Thatcher. Tried to squeeze it through to Fowler. Patrick Vieira was across quickly, had to be. Good spell by Manchester City. Well won by Barton. Wright-Phillips, a hole! What a cracker! Sean Wright-Phillips. It's a stunning strike from Wright-Phillips. Quite brilliant strike. Ball had been won superbly by Barton. And Manchester City are in front at Highbury after half an hour. Ian Wright. Must be mixed feelings. Vieira. Well, said they weren't quite on the button with their passing. Problems. Wright-Phillips. Oh, beautifully done, Robbie Fowler. Great recovery. What a super challenge by Justin Hoyt to deny Robbie Fowler. His side have not lost here since May 2003. It's 30 games. Arsenal have a free kick, and Pires is going to take it. Henry and Van Persie are joined by Toure and Senderos and Vieira and Ljungberg, and Manchester City have everybody back defending the Pires free kick. It was Senderos. It must have come off City head, probably distant. It's a corner. Patrick Vieira. I'll tell you what, David James came running for this and he didn't really get near it. 6 inches the other way and it's one each. Distan wins the header. Kolo Toure forward. Well done, and Onua went for the same ball. That's Ljungberg. Vieira. Pires, well hit, well saved. Just looking for something exceptional from their big performers, Arsenal, and Robert Pires is one of them. Manchester City have all bar Macken back defending. Here's Hoyt. Van Persie looking to tease Macken. It's a good cross, taken away from Vieira by Dunn. Back in by Henry. Ljungberg! Freddie Ljungberg scores another vital goal for Arsenal. As so often in the past, when Arsenal need someone to come up trumps, Ljungberg is the man. Brilliantly set up by Thierry Henry. Manchester City might ask about offside here, but Freddie Ljungberg has headed Arsenal level, and there are 15 minutes to play. That's Henry. Was he fouled by Distan? Yes, he was. Oh, this could be a big decision. The free kick is no more than 3 or 4 yards outside that Manchester City penalty area. Pires is standing over it, Van Persie is standing over it. A glance from one to the other. It's Van Persie. Oh, unlucky! Ljungberg! Cole on Onua away. It's a tremendous effort. Vieira to Pennant. Great ball. Pennant taking on Distan. Van Persie! Tremendous cross from Pennant from the tightest of tight corners. Onua looking for Macken. Senderos won the header. This is Wright Phillips. There's an advantage being played here. Wright Phillips for Manchester City, and still Senderos' clearance hit the referee. And here's Patrick Vieira. Vieira looking for Ljungberg. Wouldn't fall for Ljungberg, won't fall for Henry. Only clear as far as Pires. Henry! Incredible. Somehow Manchester City have escaped. Lovely little dink by Pires and Thierry Henry.
Kevin, magnificent performance from your team.
Yeah, I mean, if you come here and you don't play magnificent, you don't get anything. And as we found to our cost last season and the season before, we've come down here and played very, very well. and got beat. But tonight we were magnificent. You know, we worked hard, front to back. We had a little bit of luck at times, but then so did they. We got ourselves into some very, very good situations, and just the final pass let us down.
In the second half, it was I felt we played in 1/2 for 45 minutes, and we had the chances. We could have put us in front, but of course, they gave absolutely everything, and they did well. But I'm manager of Arsenal Football Club, and overall, I feel that we were a little bit unlucky tonight. It doesn't take anything away from Man City.
I don't say any more about Sean Wright-Phillips because people think I'm his agent. He's got everything, you know, and he's going to get better. I mean, he's playing against Ashley Cole tonight. That's the second or third time he's played against him. Ashley Cole's a top-notch defender, probably the best left back, young left back certainly in Europe for me. And yet Sean's, you know, had good times against him, and that takes a bit of doing. But he's top-notch. He's the best young player in this country by a long way for me.
Over the last 3 years, we've really pulled together, and we're coming a better side, and we've learned to play together, and that's just to do with all the training we do and the socialising we do off the pitch, really, and it's pulled us together as a team, and it's worked for us.
We'll talk about his goals and his dad's reaction. Didn't know what to do, did he? Had no idea what to do. Arsenal 5 draws out of 11 at home, and that, apart from anything else, is why they're 7 points behind this evening.
Yeah, and I think, you know, there's no Campbell in the team today. I think that was part of the reason. But most importantly, there's no Bergkamp. It took them forever, for me, it took them forever to get into the game. Once Arsenal scored, they could have won it. Henry had a big chance at the end. But the fact that Bergkamp's not playing means that they don't create enough chances to win the game. And having said that, Sylvain Distant and Richard Dunn today, for me, played magnificently. And that's why City now are quite comfortable in the Premier League, because they are defending well now. They can now go to Arsenal and get a point, and they deserve to do that.
And no Campbell and too many kids. You know what happens when you play too many kids.
But you can't exactly blame the defence for Sean Wright-Phillips' goals.
You could blame Vieira.
Yeah, exactly.
Who misplaced the pass, but I mean, how many great goals has Sean Wright-Phillips scored this season? Against Charlton, you take up against Charlton, magnificent.
We always thought, well, you know, he scores these great goals at home. This is at the City of Manchester Stadium against Charlton, as you say. This is also at the same stadium against Southampton. And this is New Year's Day, you know, what a magnificent strike that is. And this is today, away from home. So he can do it in London, he can do it in Manchester. And he's just, I have to agree with Kevin Keegan there. He is getting better and better, and it's a joy to watch him.
Now you sound like his agent. Do you think someone will...
I just might be, you know.
Do you think someone will come in for him in the transfer window? Will they make Manchester City an offer that they just cannot refuse, knowing City's financial state?
They offer big money. Yeah, I think you'd be looking at about 25, 30 million now. I mean, he is that. What age is he? He's 23.
Well, that rules everyone out, apart from Chelsea.
Well, exactly. Well, I mean, you'd have to be talking big money.
Let's have a look at the Arsenal equaliser. When we saw it in real time, we thought there might be a suspicion of offside.
We were up jumping, saying definitely offside, but Mackin is the man to watch here, on the far side. When you look from this angle, Henry overhead kick, Lundberg in, all the City players with their hands up, they're definitely offside, they're thinking, but watch Mackin there, we've got him circled. For some reason, he doesn't clear his lines, he doesn't get out, and he just sort of, it's laconic, he's just ambling out, and definitely, and a great decision by the assistant referee.
That's why you asked strikers to come and defend, but only as far as the 18-yard line. Don't come any further.
Yeah, my nose bleeding the ball.
In a word, Arsenal still in the championship race?
Oh, very much so. Very much so.
Chelsea stretched their lead over Arsenal at the top to a commanding 7 points. Manchester United's draw with Tottenham leaves them 11 points adrift of Chelsea. Norwich join West Brom and Southampton in the bottom 3. Palace's win against Villa takes them up to 17th. Blackburn's victory leaves them 6 points clear of the relegation zone. Peter, title race, how do you see it?
Well, Chelsea are in a very, very strong position, but they're being chased by 2 very experienced teams. They've been in this position before. United famously 12 points behind Newcastle in March, I think it was, and still managed to win the championship. So nothing is settled yet. It's still a long way to go.
Chelsea can only lose it.
What about technology? The
debate will rage on, and we'll have controversy after controversy, and eventually they will bring it in.
Thank you very much indeed, gents. Don't forget FA Cup on the BBC this weekend. Join us for that. Bye-bye.
Thomas And Taggart under pressure. He will need to use all his experience in reading potentially dangerous situations as Van Persie shoots. Taggart's going to have to anticipate Van Persie as much as anything today, because he is so fleet of foot. And Akinbaye does well there, away from Senderos. Oh, a thunderous shot from Adi Akinbaye. Stoke's first glimpse on goal. The ball from John Holes, a former Arsenal player. Adi Akinbaye used to come here as a supporter as a youngster. Can't beat Jens Lehmann. Now Patrick Vieira. Pires once again. Oh, it could open up here. There's space for Jermaine Pennant. Great chance, oh, and a fine save. Steve Simonsen, equal to the shot from Jermaine Pennant. Now it's with Chris Greenacre, looking for Adi Akinbaye. He gets his head to it. Oh, good save. Oh, and it's in. And Stoke City are ahead. Wow, what drama in injury time at the end of the first half. Well, Arsene Wenger hoping his side can get back into the game sooner rather than later, but of course would be hoping that they can go through today. A replay would be the last thing that he would want. That was an untimely slip by Russell. Toure. Away by Thomas Reyes! Stoke's lead doesn't last long, less than 5 minutes into the second half. And Reyes does what he does best. Captain Clive Clark with the corner kick. Taggart had to really stretch to get to that. Greenacre! Oh, and Gael Clichy saves the day for Arsenal. Well, Chris Greenacre, who scored 5 goals in the FA Cup 3 seasons ago, nearly had another one there. Greenacre. Looking for Akinbaye. Does rather well! Oh! Arsenal saved by the frame of the goal. Stoke very unfortunate not to have scored at least 1 goal here in the second half. Although caught out by Reyes. Couldn't quite get it away. Now it's with Pennant. Oh, and Arsenal score! Stoke, having had an effort cleared off the line and having hit the frame of the goal, find themselves behind in the match for the first time.
Tough afternoon at Highbury there. Just a few minutes to go. You can see how it finished on Sunday Grandstand, which immediately follows this programme over on BBC Two.
And after they'd gone behind, a fairly disappointing first half, but it really came to life in stoppage time when Arsenal conceded a goal. It was Chris Greenacre with a big cross. Adi Akinbaye's header very well saved by Jens Lehmann, but the ball fell to defender Wayne Thomas. He cracked it away into the roof of the net for his 3rd goal of the season. And the underdogs went in at half-time a goal up. But whatever it was that Arsene Wenger had said, it was certainly effective. Within 5 minutes of the restart, they were level. It was Jose Antonio Reyes, his 9th goal of the season after Carlo Torre had pulled the ball back. Arsenal continued to press. They looked the more dangerous side. And then in the 70th minute, Robin Van Persie scored his 5th goal of the season. He's now scored in every different kind of competition for Arsenal this season. That was to prove the winner, but Stoke had their moments. Adi Akinbaye hit the crossbar with a snapshot, and Chris Greenacre had an effort very well cleared off the line. But Arsenal in the end, after weathering some problems, have come through. They've reached the 4th round of the FA Cup. They've got a fantastic record in this competition in recent years. Remember, they've reached the semi-final or better 6 times in the last 7 seasons. They're on their way again, but they had to dig deep. Arsenal 2, Stoke City 1.
In the first half, I had 3 big chances, and I missed all of them. In the second half, I started with a good chance from 12, 13 meters, and the keeper saved it. And after that, I had 1 more chance, and I think in the after 1 hour, I scored my goal, and I was really happy with it.
How did you feel your partnership with Jose Antonio Reyes went? Because you've not played together that often up front like that.
No, I think it's the first time today, and he's a fantastic player, Jose. He's fast, he's handsome with the ball. I like him very much to play with him, yeah.
And finally, what did you make of your first taste of the English FA Cup?
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic atmosphere, and great fans, from Stoke and also from us, and yeah, I really like this, this cup.
A chilly afternoon cup tie in Boreham Wood was something of a culture shock for Kelly Smith. But after 7 years sampling the glamour of the American professional leagues, she's returned to Arsenal ladies on a mission.
I've come back to help raise the profile of the game over here. There's going to be a lot of media attention on the women's game from now until June. So I hope to be doing more TV interviews and getting more people aware that we do have an England women's team and that we're playing in the Euros this summer.
And what about today's game?
Today's game, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we'll get a win. Used to crowds of several thousand in the States, Smith started on the sidelines in front of, well, several, and saw her new side toil in front of goal against lower league Wimbledon. It took Arsenal until the 60th minute to edge ahead through Jane Ludlow, and that was the cue for Smith to make her entrance. Soon in the thick of the action, she had a hand in Ludlow's second. And despite spurning a good chance of her own late on, was satisfied with her showing. I got the last 25 minutes. Legs were a bit tired, the ground's a bit heavy, but overall I think I did okay.
She's one of the best players, certainly the best player, front player in this country, I think, at the moment. One of the best players in the world, as far as I'm concerned.
And she'll doubtless be thankful for a return to warmer climes this week as she links up with her England teammates for a training camp in Spain. Craig Slater, Sky Sports.
Set such high standards last season, Arsenal are struggling to match them this time around. We put 5 reasons for that to their manager. At the moment, Wenger settled on Manuel Almunia as his goalkeeper, even though the Spaniards had some worrying moments. Jens Lehmann claimed this week he's better than Almunia and that Wenger wants him to leave. The managers denied the German's claim.
A club like ours needs 2 great goalkeepers who are consistently available to perform for the club, and of course I try to keep both very competitive, but there's no way for me that he goes and leaves the club.
When Patrick Vieira plays, Arsenal play, and it's their captain that makes them tick. Wenger needs him at his very best, but after his on-off summer move to Real Madrid, his form this season has not been what we're used to. Wenger says, though, there's absolutely nothing to worry about.
Patrick has set so high standards every time that he is not dominating completely the midfield. People raise questions about him. I don't raise any question about him because I'm very happy with his performances, with his leadership, and for me he is at the moment outstanding.
A number of contracts are still up in the air. Lauren, Bergkamp and Campbell all yet to commit. But the biggest doubt's over midfielder Edu, who's considering a move to Spain if Arsenal refuse to meet his demands.
Just what I can say is that I want him to stay, and at the moment there's no agreement has been finalized, but that's all I can say.
Do you think he wants to stay?
I think so.
Arsenal need a lift. Perhaps a new face would do that. This time last year, Reyes was a surprise arrival who fitted straight in. This year, Wenger has youngsters who have plenty of potential but are inexperienced. But Wenger doesn't feel he needs to add to his squad.
Mathematically, it looks quite even. Going 0, coming in 0. 0 equals 0.
One advantage Arsenal have over Chelsea is their experience of winning the title. They know what's required down the home straight. Wenger thinks Chelsea are bound to drop points and that his team are still very well placed.
Last year everybody said we had a remarkable season, an outstanding season, but we had just 4 points more. And I'm convinced that with the problems we had, we can come back and do better than what we did until now. Therefore, I'm very optimistic. With all the problems we had, we are just 4 points behind our run. And if Chelsea continues at their level, they continue at their level, but I mean that with the problems we had and where we are at the moment, we can be at least very optimistic.
Arsenal eventually admitting that they do have some problems at the moment, but what's the main difference as it stands, Graham, in your eyes, between Arsenal and Chelsea?
I think it's very small. I think for Chelsea, it's the newness of the position they're in. They've got something to hold on to. They've not been in this situation for years, been quite close on a couple of occasions, but never, you know, ahead at this stage. So they've got a lot to hold on to. They've just moved training grounds as well, which I know sounds really silly, but the momentum that gives them, the excitement that gives those players, they've gone from the worst training ground in the Premiership to what is probably the best. And those guys can't come off the training ground. They don't want to come off. I mean, I've spoken to a few of them, they just love it down there. So I think that gives them an added enthusiasm for the remainder of the season when people are maybe finding it a bit more tough.
Fergie's stoked up the fire again, hasn't he, with Arsene Wenger?
Yeah, about the food thing, saying he was chased down there. I'd have paid to see that.
He said
Arsene
Wenger was chasing him down the tunnel.
Ferguson down the corridor at Man United. I tell you what, I'd give you 400 quid to have a look at that. I mean, hey,
I just can't see Fergie being in reverse, to be honest with you. I just can't see that.
But that won't go, will it? No. That whole thing won't go.
Well, especially when they're playing each other in, what, 2 or 3 weeks' time.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
And, of course, Arsene Wenger's up for some big awards soon.
Tomorrow night, Savoy, sports writers are honouring him, and quite rightly so, too.
Yeah, well earned to win.
There's a long way to go, and of course Chelsea is in a fantastic position. They can only lose it now because they already won it, but we'll keep going and fight until last minute of a championship if championship finishes in May.
They're so pleased to get only our 3rd clean sheet in the whole of the season, and it's against Arsenal no less. And I have to praise the goalkeeper for his efforts today. I think that when we needed him, he was there. It wasn't on many occasions, but when we needed him, it was on vital occasions. And of course, when you're always that 1-0 up, you can never rest against an Arsenal. And
you finished so far ahead of Chelsea at the end of last season. Now they're 10 points ahead of you. What has changed?
What has changed is that we are less consistent, and we have as well included many young players, and of course they learn at the moment. And they have improved as well because they bought many great players.
And certainly with a result like this now, it's installed all the confidence back in these players to get to the best. And I think we saw the best of my players from start to finish today.
Behind, Arsenal needed to win, a task which was once routine, not anymore, as he knows, thanks to some sloppy defending and a Greek with a very long name.
Last 5 minutes of the first half. Phil Brown, the Bolton assistant manager, being given a long lecture by the 4th official Howard Webb on the near touchline, which is getting the Bolton fans goat up. This is Diouf, lovely ball and a goal! Giannakopoulos for Bolton! It's a dream of a ball from El Hadj Diouf, and it's a tap in at the far post for Giannakopoulos. Gardner with a throw in for Bolton. Oh, I say it's Nolan! Goodness me! Have you ever seen anything like this in an Arsenal defence? Toure and Campbell and Almunia are working on different planets at the moment.
More silverware for Arsene Wenger, a tribute award in recognition of his good relations with the media. His relationship with Sir Alex Ferguson, not so cordial. The latest verbal spat between the pair has forced League Managers Association Chairman Howard Wilkinson to demand a speedy conclusion to the feud. The two managers breaking the LMA's code of conduct.
I got a letter about 3 weeks ago from the Managers Association saying, you know, make sure you don't say, you know, ever got other managers in the paper and anything, which I wouldn't do that anyway, but obviously some people never got that letter.
So how best to end the feud? Sources at the FA have indicated they will push for the two clubs to issue a joint statement, drawing a line under the matter. Wenger's furious. Ferguson's made fresh allegations about the infamous tunnel bust-up in October. The United managers demanded Wenger says sorry for his players' behaviour before the clubs meet again at Highbury a fortnight tomorrow.
He wants an apology, and he wants it before the game. He's not going to go into this game feeling that Arsenal have put one over him. That's just not Alex Ferguson, is it?
Wenger's hinted he wants the FA to bring a disrepute charge against Ferguson over his recent comments. Fraser Robertson, Sky Sports.
Well, it hasn't been a good few days for Wenger after defeat at Bolton at the weekend. Many are writing off Arsenal's chances of retaining the Premiership title.
98, when we obviously secured the double as the Carling champions.
But Nigel Winterburn thinks there's little chance of Arsenal winning the title this time. The defeat at Bolton on Saturday has left the champions well adrift of Chelsea.
It's going to be a massive ask of them, and even Manchester United as well, to claw back the points against Chelsea. Chelsea have looked so strong this season. They don't look like they're going to be beaten at the moment, and you know, even if they were to have a couple of slip-ups, you've still got to expect Arsenal and Manchester United to win all their games as well.
Winterburn says the Old Trafford loss in October was the turning point in Arsenal's season. Going into that weekend, they held a 5-point lead over Chelsea and were 11 clear of Manchester United. Since then, there's been a 15-point swing in Chelsea's favour. Arsenal now 10 off the pace and just 1 ahead of United.
Going 49 games and then losing to one of your biggest rivals is going to cause some concern. And it had a shock. I think it sent a ripple through Highbury. They lost their form for a little while. But I think, you know, Arsene Wenger will probably tell you that the team as a whole hasn't been playing a consistent level as it did last season.
And injuries to Wenger's midfield is seen as the reason for that.
They've lost Edu and Gilberto Silva for a large part of the season. And especially Gilberto Silva, he sits in front of the back four. He breaks play up, he keeps it simple, and when he wins the ball, he gives it simple to the next player.
Winterburn expects Chelsea to wrap up the title with games to spare, and he says they could clinch it at home to Arsenal in April. Damesh at Sky Sports.
That he may retire. The Walsall player-manager is 37 in March, but will carry on playing next season, regardless of whether the club is relegated to League Two.
He's happy to be both player and manager, but Paul Merson knows that at 36, his engine has only so many services left in it.
I'm enjoying playing, so you know, hopefully I'll keep on playing, and we'll take it from there. But obviously, next season, you know, we'll have to look at alternatives as well, just in case I ain't going to be able to play, because I will be a year older, so I won't be playing as many games. So we'll see when the time comes. But most important is to try and win some more games.
The good news for Merson in his rookie year of management is that he's already been told he will continue as Walsall boss if they stay up.
Yeah, as long as we don't go down, which is important. The thing is, I don't want to happen is I don't want to finish my career on a boo, you know, with people booing you off the pitch and things like that, because, you know, it won't be a nice way to go. But I'm afraid when you're a manager, that's the only way you do go nowadays. So, you know, that's something I'm not looking forward to whenever it comes.
Merson's men won the crowds over last weekend with a 3-0 defeat of Chesterfield. Now they must travel north for a tough test against Tranmere.
They're a very good team. They beat us here. It was very even here about 3 weeks ago, and then they got the first goal, and we sort of folded and we lost 2-0, but there was nothing between it for an hour. Saturday will be very difficult. I can't think of a worse place to be going, to be fair, on Saturday.
Looking forward to a longer stay in the hot seat at Walsall, but not so much the trip to Prenton Park. Pete Colley, Sky Sports.